Hello, Internet! This is LordMaddog, and I'm coming at you with another tutorial for my SOULSLIKE project system. Haha! So, this time we're going to talk about how to do the music setup, and it contains of two components, and we're going to jump right on into it. So, we're going to bring up our main editor system. We're going to go into our content folder, we're going to find our data tables, and we're going to bring up our music data table. So we see here we have our music data table, and we're going to go over the options for your music and how to use this music. All right, first thing to note, the top one will always be the default sound music that will play. So unless you have a music area that activates, we'll talk about music areas later, the top one will always be the one that starts to play unless you're in combat. So that said, make sure you have the top one what you want, and we're going to talk about how to do, what the settings are for that. First option is obviously the song, and then the second option is the volume. This is how loud that would be. Most songs are very loud, and instead of actually going through and editing them, I'm going to leave them at the exact same sound place where I got them from, and then change the volume. And you're going to need to test that out, figure out exactly what volume you wanted at. So with all these come from the same place. They're all going to be a 0.1 volume sound. That's what I said. Okay, so, and then its selection is this a combat song. This is selected when you obviously when you get into combat. If it's a combat song, hit yes. And then your combat index. This tells the combat song which index you want to play. So you put the combat song. So like I have an NPC that I have a boss NPC. I'm going to put that a combat index of 3, and I'm going to make it a combat song. So over here, I'll show you the like a combat index of 3. We see here Blazing Skies. This is my boss music. So my combat index right here is 3, and also my combat priority. That is means that if let's say I have other NPCs with it, or you start another combat with it, so that only like the Frozen Blaze of War, that is just my default combat system with the like non-elite enemies, kind of minions or whatever you're fighting. That is your combat priority of 1. Okay, so and I want my boss ones a combat priority of 3. So if you get into a boss battle, that it'll start the boss battle music. So that's what the combat index and combat priority are to do. And then you can select whether or not it can be interrupted. If you do not want a song to be interrupted, like let's say you have a area when you first walk into it, you want to play this nice sounding music, you don't want that to be interrupted, then you go ahead and hit it that it can't be interrupted. And when you enter other areas or maybe combat, that song will still be playing. And then when that song finally ends, then it will enable it to be the next song that has to be playing will automatically activate. Okay. So, and then after that, we have our start time. This is basically edited. You can obviously edit it here, but this is basically keeping track of the song so you can pick up right where it left off. Okay, can be played at random. This is for if your song is over, and it checks if it can be played at random. So this Echoes of Fords can be obviously played at random, and these One Share Lost Haven can be played at random, and Wonder Lost can't. So I think Lost Haven and Heirs of Light can be played at random. And that means once the end of the song is done, if this little thing down here is selected at end, play random song. So that means you can have the possible of just having multiple different songs playing afterwards. And each one, each one that goes into random, that it'll automatically make sure it has at random as well. So if it does not have at random, what will happen is they'll just repeat that song. Okay, so that's basically all the setups for the DT music system. Now let's actually talking about activating different songs. Of course, there's combat. Any NPC you have that we have, we'll go into our master NPC here, AI. And I'll show you this. Master AI. We'll go combat index. Combat index. Music index right here, and this is the stat we'll change for our combat music index. As you can see here, I will open up my boss. Where is he at? My big frost giant. Here we are, and my combat index on my frost giant will be 3. Combat index, And then that's the only thing you need to change with any of your AI. All the other stuff has already been set up inside the AI. As long as you make a child of the master AI, it is all set up, and all you got to do is change your combat and music index. And so that'll be the one it'll be changed to. Now remember, the combat music index is the combat music that will be playing. It's not necessarily the priority. So you got to change the priority separate from the combat index. All right, then let's talk about actually changing from different areas. We're going to go ahead and find one here. This here, I think I have it already selected right here. This is my world area. So we have our music areas. And we're going to go into our details. So music areas, I'll go ahead and open up the blueprint. It's a really easy blueprint. It basically gets the music master, which is what spawned when the player first spawns into the world and into the map. And this area here is what tells it which ones to play. So, and you got to put it around. So as you see this one here, I have it just this area. You can see the little edges there up there in the corner. It's just covering this area, the Z, don't want to move that. And I have another one right out here that covers the entire, probably to name them once you put them down here. Music area 6, it covers this one. All right. So that's, you just basically enter area that they are. We'll talk about the settings, details, the music table. Obviously you got to select the right music table for it to automatically select the one. Usually probably should just have one music table, but you can have multiple music tables if you so desire. Okay. Actually, no, I don't think you can. No, you can only have one music table. Master music. Yeah, you could probably have them if you want multiple music tables if you want. Yeah. Okay. Role name. This is the name of the song. So obviously we're going to play Echoed of the Ford. And we got Airs Light. I only have 9 songs possible select, but basically when you enter that area, it'll change the song. It's really simple, really easy to set up. I have another one right here, and I will showcase. Is that not it? This is the one. I think this is the music area. Yes, I have a music area. This one plays Airs Light, and then I have another one over here. This one will play Wondrous Ice Flats. And then the one out here, the outliner, it's going to be easier to find it right here. Outliner 6. This one will play Forgotten Docks, which is perfectly good. It's almost right on for the area. So if I hit play, we'll go ahead and turn up the sound once I get into my settings here, so you can hear the difference. Settings. I like having background music kind of low. Audio, where here we have a 20. We're going to pump it all the way up to being quite loud. And you see we enter this area here. It'll slowly fade out and play. Now we're playing Air Flats. We'll come back in this area. We'll play Echoes of the Ford. And then we come in here, Forgotten Docks. And if I get into combat, we'll see it switches over to combat. And kill him. Get out of combat. Oh, no, here. Have to kill these guys. Okay. Get rid of this thing so it's not blocking the screen. And now it'll slowly fade out over 10 seconds. And we're back into Forgotten Docks. And if I were to fight a creature that's a little higher, you would see the different combat priority. We're going to set that one. We're going to fight with this guy. You can hear the different combat music. I killed him too fast, but that's because the character's really high level. And then it'll slowly fade out. Over 10 to 15 seconds. I have it random. And we'll go back into combat flats. I mean, no. Fort. No. The docks. Forgotten Docks. Yes. And that is the music system. If you have liked this tutorial, like, shares, or comments, any questions, don't hesitate to ask. LordMaddog, signing off.